Hey guys, what's up? Hey guys, what's up? It's Andriana and this is Gallivant with me. And oh, we can't forget the pups. So, I just woke up and I am going to be doing a video about all the realities of van life and the expectations that people show you on social media. People who post about their van life and stuff, they only post like, oh, look at this beautiful mountaintop and look at all these amazing things, which is great and they should totally share that. But I feel like sometimes people who actually want to do that, they miss all the realities of like what actually happens and what actually like goes on in van life. Because I will say, luckily this lifestyle is very much for me, but it was not what I expected. And I could see how like sometimes people could put in all this time and all that money and then get down to it and they're like, I don't want to do this. So yeah, I'm gonna show y'all the real stuff. First little thing, you know, people are always like, oh, I just woke up, look at this beautiful morning, and you see like the sunset and the great fields and dogs playing. Well, I'm in a truck stop. I worked last night because sometimes I guest bartend in like random places, so I didn't get off till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's a truck stop right across from like the place that I was working at, so I slept there. But I keep getting waken up by people honking their loud horns, so I guess I'm up now. The whole point of van life is to get to those points, or at least for me, to see those beautiful things. But the part that nobody shows is getting to those points, the places you sleep when you're not there yet. The only bad thing is as soon as the sun is up, horns are honking, like, because diesels have to honk them when they're leaving, I'm assuming. And so you just hear and it's like right by your van, so it's really loud and it wakes me up and it wakes the dogs up and it's not fun. Usually there's not like too many grassy areas. I actually have to drive somewhere to like walk the dogs and let them run around and play. That's what I'm about to do now, but I'm gonna go in this little gas station or truck stop real quick and get some breakfast for me and feed the dogs and then fill up my gas. And today I'm just kind of chilling, so let's get on with it. Another reality of van life is 90% of the time it's going to be messy. I literally like think about it all the time about how these people on like social media, they always post pictures of their van and it is always clean. And I don't know if maybe that's because like they're just highly motivated people, or they have more people, like 2 people and not dogs. But y'all, I literally clean this van like 2-3 times a day, and then it's like I go to sleep and I wake up and it's a mess. Like these little leprechauns just come in and like, she's asleep, throw everything around. Because y'all, like yeah, that's a reality of it. And it might just be because I'm lazy. Granted, this drives me insane, which is why I clean it so much every day. But like on the days where I don't have the energy to do that, yeah, it gets tedious, especially with sweeping. But that also might be because I have dogs and we're outside all the time, so we're always like trucking in. I usually don't wear my shoes in the van or anything, but it still gets in there no matter what I do. So that has been a lovely endeavor. But I'm gonna go clean it and then I'm gonna come back and finish this video. Okay, y'all, I changed the lighting so you could see a little better. And I started to clean, but I haven't got to the rest because I'm tired, y'all. That's why. I wanted to point out another thing. When you have a generator, I know some people like put them under their vans. I have mine on a hitch, like a trailer hitch thing in the back. But it's so nice, like the idea of having just a super stealth, really quiet generator. But right now, it's hard to find parts. So I had to get mine from a pawn shop. And it works good. But man, have I, one, had to learn how to be a professional mechanic. I can take apart and rebuild a generator at this point, but sometimes it gives me problems. And sometimes it's just like releasing the air bubbles that are in the fuel. But y'all, I have been in like Ross parking lot and went to go start it, and it just sounds like a gunshot. And then everyone in the parking lot's like, which is not fun. And it's quite embarrassing when like I'm meeting a friend somewhere, and of course it takes me a second to like get everything together for the dogs. So they're like standing there waiting for me, and it's not starting, so I'm having to like pull the string thing in there. Wow, I sound like a professional mechanic right now. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's not starting, and then it shoots gunfires, and then it finally starts. Yeah. That one never gets unembarrassing. To this day, I literally try to get places before the people come so that they don't have to see me trying to make it work. Yeah, buy a new generator, don't get a used one, or get used to the embarrassment, because it happens all the time. Another thing that has to do with, you know, people posting and it looks so cute in the van, it looks amazing. Well, they don't post when everything literally falls apart or breaks 24/7 and you have to fix it. For example, I don't even know where the piece is, but I had to add a little piece onto this shelf right here, and it fell off. So one, it's not holding all my stuff right now, and I need to fix it, but like I said, I'm tired. It's just like missing a piece and it just falls off. Also, where my fridge is, the drawer slides are just like not strong enough. I've replaced them twice, I think now, and they literally just break. So now I just have to kind of lift it and pull and then just like slam it back in, because I don't feel like fixing it again. But there's a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure everybody's van, that you don't really know about until you see them try to operate it, and then you're like, wow, this is kind of raggedy. Welcome to my raggedy little Freebird. Another thing that really sucks, mainly all of this is because I'm lazy, but I feel like I'm just like an average amount of lazy, not like extremely lazy, you know? Just sometimes you don't want to get out of your bed. But another problem is, because my fridge is right here and it opens this way, I have to make sure that there's nothing in this area. And the same goes for my toilet as well. And sometimes I will just not eat because I don't feel like getting out of bed and moving stuff out of the way and lugging that drawer out and then opening the top and finally getting to the food. It made me appreciate being able to walk into a kitchen and being like, you know, like how you look in the fridge and you just like stand there with it open because you're trying to like see what looks good, and like you imagine it in your tummy, and then you're like, yeah, I want that. Well, I don't do that anymore because that would take a lot of work just to close it and not take anything out of it. So unless I'm like starving, I'm not opening my fridge, or I'm about to cook. That is the only reason. Another thing that is quite difficult in the van life that I feel like people don't show is having dogs in the van. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure everybody assumes like, wow, you have 2 giant dogs like living in that van with you, it must be hard. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little rough sometimes because they're huge and they just tromp on stuff because they think they're like this big. There's been multiple times where they have knocked over their water bottle and it's just spilled everywhere, like flooded the whole thing of water. And then I have to like use one of 2 or 3 towels that I have to clean it up. So then that prompts a trip to the laundromat because I got to make sure I have clean towels, and I don't know if I'll be by one, you know, the next place that I go. I got to find all of those things. I will also say, and maybe this is just me, but every time I travel, it's a little, not nerve-wracking, I guess, but it's a new place. So most people have experience like when you move to a new city or a new town and you don't know anybody, you don't know where anything is, like you have to learn that, and you have time to kind of learn the new city that you're in. Well, one of the things that is a little difficult in the van life that I've realized is sometimes I will like get a little nervous like when I'm about to go to a new city because I have to drive in places I've never driven before and on roads and rules that I haven't seen, because y'all, where I'm from, for the longest time, I didn't even know what a roundabout was. When I went to a new city and saw a roundabout, I about had a panic attack. So yeah, now they do have roundabouts in my city now, but that was back in the day. So that is very, you know, it's just the unknown. You're going into the unknown, and there's no place where it's 100% just like, you know, and you are very comfortable. You are always putting yourself in these uncomfortable positions, which is amazing because it brings about the most amazing experiences and most amazing things that can happen. But it is nerve-wracking sometimes, and it is something that I have to continuously like reassure and ground myself with, because yeah, new places are scary sometimes, especially when you're alone. I will say that I think that that was one of the biggest things, even with like moving into the van and starting this journey. Sometimes you just gotta do it, but it is scary. Another thing that is inevitable when you live in a very tiny, maybe like 50, if that, square foot home, is you will have bruises all over your legs, all over them. You can't avoid it, just accept it. I am slightly anemic, so I get them very easily, but literally, y'all, yeah, bruises all over because you run into things, and especially with having horses that don't know how to use their legs, I run into things a lot. The last thing that I will touch on that kind of makes the van life a little bit difficult is when you have to refill or dump your gray water tank or your toilet, or refill in your fresh water tank. It is a little difficult. I'll put it to this perspective. Every week, under your sink, and now y'all imagine all the stuff you have under your kitchen sink, okay? You have to pull all of that out and take your jug and lug this big old thing of water out the van and do all of the things you need to do, and then bring it back. And then you have to find somewhere, one, that gives you free water, which usually I can go to gas stations and they'll have like water pumps, or RV parks. They don't have dump stations at most places, and you have to dump your gray water in a dump station and your toilet residue in a dump station. And that can be a pain in the butt sometimes. It's just a task, like having to continue to do that over and over again. And also just with anything in the van, it is a lot of work because it's a small space. It gets dirty faster. There's a lot of work. You can't really just do anything without having to think about it first, I guess, is the main thing. Like, I can't just wake up and be like, oh, my room's messy, but it's fine. Like, I'll just clean it later. Like, no, I have to clean it, because if not, I won't be able to get to stuff. Or it'll drive me crazy because I hate things being messy. But even cooking dinner, I have to pull out the fridge, and I have to clean the space, and then I have to move it back, and I have dogs laying on the floor, and then I gotta pull out my table for extra space and put out the stove. So it takes a lot more energy to do these simple tasks that, like, sometimes we fail to appreciate at our home, which is great. And I feel like one day when I do build my home, I will be much more appreciative of that. But it definitely sucks sometimes. And if you're lazy like me, it takes a lot. But I think it's important, and it makes you work for everything that you have, you know? Things aren't just necessarily handed to you all the time, and they don't necessarily come easy when you're living in a van life. So I think that's something that a lot of people kind of miss and don't point out in the van life. That is a very big kind of deal breaker for the van life, because I know a lot of people who would not be willing to do that. They're like, no, I like my house. I want everything to be right there. And that's not a bad thing, because, I mean, who doesn't? It is a reality that I feel a lot of times is not necessarily shown. I would do it all every single day for the ability to travel wherever I want and to see those beautiful things and just to get to experience life. I think that the van life for me has really taught me how to just live in the moment and take things as they come. I used to have so much anxiety about always being in the future, always having a plan. There, you know, if this is the plan, like, it's gonna go to the plan, and I was literally going to stress myself to death trying to force the universe to go with my plan. But living in the van has taught me that, like, I just kind of gotta flow with it, you know? I always say, like, I'm flowing with the wind, like, I just go where the wind takes me, and it's genuinely like the best description I can give people, because you have to. If not, you are going to live in a constant state of stress. And so I'm so appreciative that the van, or Freebird, has taught me that. And also just seeing my dogs smile and seeing how happy they are every time they get to go hike in a new place or jump in a lake or something. It makes it all worth it. So my point in making this video is not to complain and not to whine, and I definitely know what I got myself into. But I wanted to point that out because I think that for some people, these things could be deal breakers on if they want to spend the time and the money and the energy building a home, and then they get out there and they're like, whoa, this is not how it looked on social media. This is not how it looked on YouTube. I want you guys to know, like, the real stuff. Like, I am just a normal human, just like you people. I am messy sometimes, and I'm lazy, and I work a lot. So it's life. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, and it doesn't turn out perfectly. But if you really want this experience and you want to see all of those beautiful things, this is kind of the other side to it. So this is a kind of short video today, but I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you Friday. Woo!